common question that anybody in crisis has to ask themselves is, who are you listening to? And today I want to discuss the fact that in many ways we fall into trouble, unfaithful or betrayed, when our voice is the only voice that we're listening to. Or if our voice is the loudest voice that we give ourselves to. The fact is, if you're struggling or you've been unfaithful or you've been betrayed, it's really dangerous to just listen to your own voice. And here's some of the reasons why. Number one, you're the one that's either unfaithful or you're the one that's betrayed. And so your own pain, your own hurt, your own frustration is blinding. So if you're just listening to yourself, there's probably, if you're unfaithful, there's a lot of deception, there's a lot of frustration, there's a lot of anger, there's a lot of resentment. I know you're kind of saying, wait a minute, the unfaithful is angry? Well, yeah. The unfaithful is angry because they're mad at their spouse or mad at life or frustrated or bitter. And so those voices are running around in their head. And if you, the unfaithful, are just listening to yourself, I got to tell you, you're probably listening to the wrong voice, because you're not going to lead yourself out of the darkness. You're probably going to do everything that you can to just reinforce what you're doing. So if you, the unfaithful, are just listening to your own voice, I think you're probably reinforcing maybe some deception or maybe some confusion or maybe some anger and hurt, because your pain, your anger is blinding to objectivity. If you're a betrayed, of course you're angry, but more than just being angry, you're hurt and devastated. And so your voice can be compromised by an incredible amount of pain and sorrow and hurt and frustration. And so to think that your voice is going to lead you out of the darkness or the wilderness is probably just not realistic. And so regardless of what side you're on, if you're just listening to your voice, I think that you're going to be blinded by the pain that you're in. And I don't think that you want to just listen to your own voice, because it's probably going to lead you further and further into hurt and pain and anger and bitterness and collateral damage. The second reason that I want to share with you is because you're probably right in the middle of your pain. I mean, quite honestly, you just don't know what life is going to look like in 6 weeks or 6 months. Are you still going to be married? Are you going to be divorced? Are you going to be in a much better place than you are right now? Maybe in a year you're going to look back and think, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that we're no longer there. But you don't know it, because right now you're right in the middle of the chaos, the collateral damage, the confusion, the one day it's great, the next 2, 3, 4 days it's miserable. One day it's awesome, the next day it's terrible, the next day it's great. I mean, you can't really predict much about this. You may have 3 or 4, 5, 6 days and it's just great, and now you remember, yes, I want to save my marriage. And then one thought, one movie, one email, one weird look, one text message, and before you know it, all the momentum has disintegrated. Number one, that's normal, so don't let that freak you out. But number two, you just don't know what things are going to look like. So rallying around just your voice prevents you from hearing other people's opinions who are experts, like Rick. Maybe the curriculum, coming to an EMS weekend, being able to put yourself in the position to hear from expert third parties who have been through it before. That's vital. You need other voices besides just your own. Another reason, and this is specifically for the unfaithful, you've probably lied to yourself 1,000,000 times. I know I did. You've probably reinforced the deception or reinforced the confusion time and time again. So quite honestly, you've lost the ability to hear or see objectively. So the voice that has pushed you further and further into the deception is not the voice that's going to lead you out of the deception. You're just not smart enough to fix yourself. I wasn't smart enough to fix myself, and I want to encourage you and plead with you to stop thinking that you're smart enough to fix yourself. You're not. That's why you need an expert. That's why you need another voice, and you have to be incredibly careful about who that voice is. It needs to be an expert. It needs to be someone who's been through infidelity before, someone who's treated it at a minimum of 10 years. You need a voice like that, someone that's not jaded by their unfaithfulness or jaded by their spouse's betrayal, but that they can help lead you to a point of comfortability and a point of healing because you have heard both sides of it and you have now begun to see the truth, and that takes time. So finally, I want to encourage you to find another voice that's objective, that's expert, and that's trustworthy. I think you'll find the website to be exactly that, a very safe and trustworthy voice.